budget establishes our new Children's Dental Services pilot program. We'll start by serving children in 9 Ohio counties that are designated as dental health professional shortage areas, and also that lack nonprofit dental facilities to provide care to low-income families. We'll partner with dental professionals, those who live in the community, and school districts to deploy dental programs directly into school, providing screenings, preventive care, and treatment to children who need these services the most. I ask for your support of this program as well. Now let me turn to school-based clinics. They are another way that schools across Ohio are helping students get proper medical care so they can focus and they can learn. These clinics work when schools partner with a local health care provider. And we've seen how these clinics can, in fact, be self-sustaining. We'll have a model, and we will show schools how to do it. So I urge all Ohio school superintendents to reach out to the Ohio Department of Education, reach out to Steve Dakin, and we will walk you through the process, step by step. We know that schools are the center of our communities. And these clinics are cost-effective, and they bring primary care directly into the school where everyone can have access to it. Just look at 12-year-old Kylie Wainscott, a 5th grader at Warner Middle School in Xenia. She visited her school-based health clinic with speech and hearing concerns. The clinic set her up with ENT and audiology specialists, and now she has hearing aids. Kylie's hearing has been greatly improved. Today she can hear her teachers, and her grades in school have gone up. We're so happy to have Kylie with us today in the gallery. Kylie, please stand up so we can give you a round of applause. Kylie. Addiction to screen time and the nonstop barrage of notifications rob our children of precious time to learn from their teachers during the school day. I want to thank Senator Andy Brenner, Representative Tracy Richardson, former Representative Jessica Miranda, for their unrelenting work to pass a bill, which I signed into law in May, to require all schools to implement policies to address the use of cell phones in schools. I also want to thank our schools, our parents, our communities, and especially Ohio's former Lieutenant Governor and now Ohio's U.S. Senator, John Husted. I want to thank John, I want to thank his wife, Tina, for their early leadership on this very, very important issue. Tina is with us today in the gallery, and let's give her and John a round of applause. We have heard repeatedly from teachers, principals, school board members, superintendents, and parents who tell us that when cell phones were banned during the school day in their school, the school transformed before their very eyes. Kids are focused in the classroom, and the sound of laughter and banter echo throughout the lunchroom. These kids are actually talking to each other instead of having their heads down buried in their phones. Taves Valley Local School District in Pickaway County implemented a policy where students lock their phones in pouches during the school day, and the results have been profound. Superintendent Kyle Wolf told us that student engagement and attendance have both greatly improved. Grades are better. Socialization is improving and becoming more positive. The number of students being disciplined was cut nearly in half almost instantly, and even communication between students and teachers has improved because they have more opportunities simply to interact with each other. I want to thank Superintendent Wolf for having the courage to say enough is enough. He is here today with us, so let's give him a round of applause as well. What is happening in Taves Valley is happening in school buildings all across Ohio that have banned phones during school hours. As a country and as a state, we have learned a lot, and we've learned a lot more even in this last year. And the evidence today is so much stronger than it was even when the bill was passed. The evidence is overwhelming. As I've said before, as an old prosecutor, the juries came back. There was a verdict. And so, my fellow citizens of Ohio, members of the General Assembly, it's time to finish the job and ban cell phones in all Ohio schools so kids can learn. I ask you to approve the language in our budget to put an end to cell phone use during school hours in all Ohio school districts, to give the precious time during the school day back to our kids so they can learn and teachers can teach. For too many working parents, balancing work and childcare has become very difficult. Our budget continues our significant investment in helping more parents go to work and have then the peace of mind that their child is being well cared for and is learning. Together, through our Child Care Choice Voucher Program, we've expanded access to quality child health care support to assist families up to 200% of the federal poverty level. This program has been around for only 10 months, but already 5,100 more Ohio families and 7,700 more children are getting the child care that they need. I ask the members of the General Assembly for your continued support of this, because our voucher program, really an education and workforce program, is making a significant positive impact on young children and working families throughout the state of Ohio. Today, more than ever, young families are feeling financially constrained. And so every Ohio child under the age of 7 in our budget, we're going to give working parents a $1,000 tax credit to ease the financial burdens of raising a family. This will help parents fund child care or health care, pay for groceries, diapers, rent, any other costs. It will help them as they create the family of their dreams. And it will help Ohio get more parents also onto our workforce team. Now, I've heard it said that teaching is the greatest act of optimism because teachers believe in a better future and they have faith in the ability of every student. Put a good teacher in the classroom and kids will learn. Few things make more of a difference in a young student's life than the impact of a truly outstanding teacher. Countless teachers across Ohio pour their heart and their soul into this work and into their students every single day. In the gallery today with us are Ohio's 2025 Teachers of the Year. Please stand. We are grateful for what you do. Thank you so much. We are very grateful. A school principal has the power to transform the culture at a school and improve outcomes. That's why our budget establishes the Ohio Principal Apprenticeship Program. This 2-year training program will match aspiring principals with veteran principals to better prepare them to embrace the challenges of school leadership so they can create the conditions for students, teachers, and staff alike to thrive. Another goal of education should be to develop good citizens. An essential part of that is the teaching of basic critical thinking skills, being curious, asking questions, making arguments, and supporting a position with solid facts and evidence. Martin Luther King put it best when he said, and I quote, "Education must enable one to sift and weigh evidence, to discern the true from the false, the real from the unreal, and the facts from the fiction. The function of education, therefore, is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically." End of quote. To promote critical thinking and open dialogue on our college campuses, we took a major step in our last budget, along with the General Assembly and higher education leaders, by creating 5 new centers for civic culture and society. One at Miami, one at Ohio State, University of Toledo, Cleveland State, and Wright State. I want to thank President McCauley for his leadership in this, and also Senator Jerry Serino for leading the way on this effort. And I'm pleased that leaders from the new civic centers are with us today in the gallery. Please also stand so we can give you a round of applause. Thank you very much. Well before college, though, and exposure to places like the civic centers, we know that teaching children critical thinking skills most often comes through classes in history, English, civics, social studies. Earlier this year, I sat down with a number of high school and elementary school social studies teachers from across Ohio. What a dedicated group of teachers. They told me one of the biggest challenges they see is that too many kids are simply not being exposed to enough social studies content, especially in elementary school. We intend to change that by putting a deliberate focus on civics, social studies, American history, Ohio history. The best place to start is in the elementary grades by embedding social studies content directly into materials that teachers use to teach reading and writing skills. And so I'm directing the Department of Education and Workforce to develop such a model curriculum. I'm asking the General Assembly to support that effort in our budget as well. Further, we're going to increase our kids' exposure to Ohio history. Today, students receive the majority of their Ohio history education in 4th grade. Instead, we're going to expose kids to our state's history in every grade, starting in kindergarten. I thank the Ohio History Connection for serving as a terrific partner in this effort by supplying schools with excellent teaching materials. They share our pride in our state's rich history and the vital role our state has played in the development of this great country. Now today, too many Ohio children are driving on roads without any training. Fran and I have heard from parents all over the state. They tell us, and we know from experience with our own kids, that driver training programs in Ohio are either not available at all or not available nearby. And if they are available, the courses are often too costly, putting this training out of reach for many, many Ohio families. Because of this, many teens are waiting until they're 18 to get their license, which is the age at which training is no longer required. The result is there are more crashes, more fatalities among 18 and 19-year-old drivers than there are among 16 or 17-year-old drivers. Further, if a teen waits until age 18 or 19 to get a driver's license, many high school students will miss valuable opportunities to get a job, an internship, or other work-related learning experiences when they're still in school. Schools are the logical and most accessible places for teens to learn how to drive. Yet very few schools currently offer driver's education. We need to change that. Our budget helps schools partner with independent driver training schools or to start their own driver training programs. With the support of the General Assembly and allocating a permanent revenue stream, all Ohio schools will have the opportunity to receive funding to make driver training available to their students. We're going to make driver's training affordable. We're going to bring it directly to students. We're going to enable teenagers to get jobs and internships, and we will save lives by doing this. My friends, with our help, It's time to put driver's education back into our high schools. Learning basic life skills is so essential to succeeding in work and life. Before you can decide on a career or educational path, you need to first understand who you are, what are your interests, what are you good at, what's your passion. Are you resilient, are you hardworking, grateful, do you have a purpose or a goal in your life? But far too often when young people are interviewing for jobs or starting out in their careers, it isn't that they lack the talent. Rather, they may lack practical life skills, things such as time management, how to get along with others, how to stay on task, problem solving, teamwork, resilience, adaptability, curiosity, creativity. It's all the non-technical skills and traits related to how you work that are part of any workplace. Kids need to be ready for life in the real world after graduation. They need to learn to overcome adversity and develop a work ethic and the grit and determination that goes with that. They need to know how to make a budget, how to pay bills, what to do in an emergency. And they must understand the importance of fulfilling their civic duties. And that, of course, includes voting. Further, they need to learn basic first aid, how to prepare a simple meal, understand nutrition, dietary needs, and the importance of physical fitness. Now, speaking of physical fitness, stay tuned for a future announcement as I have asked Lieutenant Governor Tressel to lead a statewide initiative to promote fitness in our schools. More on that, though, more on that to come. But lacking these skills is a barrier to employment. But it's also a barrier, frankly, to a happy and successful life. That is why I am directing the Department of Education and Workforce to review the state's learning standards and model curriculum to emphasize the development of practical life skills. The department will report back to me and back to you with recommendations to make sure that we're adequately focusing on these essential skills in our schools. Just as basic life skills are important, so is a student's ability to participate in sports and other extracurricular activities that teach so many important lessons. I want to take a moment to talk about how we can help make sure that no Ohio student is denied the chance to participate because they can't afford fees or equipment. Now, we love our sports in Ohio. We love our teams. For decades, we've used general fund dollars to help with the building or renovation of ballparks and stadiums. These sports facilities are spread all over Ohio. They include the Toledo Mud Hens, Lake County Captains, Lake Erie Crushers, Akron Rubber Ducks, Dayton Dragons, Chillicothe Paints, and more and more and more. They're everywhere. The way the state has historically assisted these facilities means that money competes for dollars with education, mental health, and many other vitally items in our budget. Vitally important things. We now, with the budget I presented to you, have an opportunity to stop using our general fund dollars to build or renovate ballparks and stadiums. My proposed increase on online sports gaming companies will allow us to do this and also allow us to help kids to afford to play sports and participate in other activities in their schools. Many times the opportunity to participate in sports or theater, band, other activities are frankly the only things that kids are really excited about. In some cases, the only thing keeping that child in school. The language in our budget proposal is truly a win-win. I'm asking you to take a hard look at that. I'm asking you to do it. It is a win for everybody. Too many Ohio students graduate from high school without a plan for their future, both what they want to do and how to get there. Equally troubling is that many students also lack a trusted adult who can help guide them in these important decisions. Our budget addresses this by integrating career planning into existing high school graduation plans to help students map out their goals and identify the education or training needed to achieve these goals. We know that this will make a difference. Take Alexis White, for example. A junior at Fort Fry High School, her involvement in 4-H, FFA ignited her passion for agricultural communications. Through an internship at Campbell Farms and other opportunities with local agriculture media outlets, Alexis discovered her calling to combine her love of agriculture with her talent for telling a story. Alexis is with us today. Alexis, will you please stand? Let's give her a hand. Thanks, Alexis. Career technical education in Ohio is thriving, and I want to take a moment to thank all of you for your generous support in our past budgets. Over the last 4 years, we've seen a 10% growth in the number of students participating in career tech. That's over 13,000 more students earning credentials and engaging in career tech education than in 2021. Let me tell you about Drew Corbett's career tech path. Drew was a great student at Jonathan Alder High School in Plain City. He played sports, was an active member of the school community. When his mother, Kathy, started working at Toll's Career and Technical Center, Drew got a healthy nudge to apply at Toll's for engineering. At first, Drew wasn't thrilled about leaving his friends for 2.5 hours a day, but he trusted his mom, and he knew he could still stay involved in his extracurricular activities at the school. During his senior year, he landed a great-paying internship at Heichmann Pharmaceutical Company in Columbus, where he got real work experience that solidified his choice to continue his education at the University of Cincinnati for chemical engineering. Drew, will you please stand up? Thank you, Drew. Thanks, Drew. For students who see college as their pathway to a career, it's so important to expose them to all the great colleges and universities we have right here in the state of Ohio. Thanks to the General Assembly's strong support, last year we were able to award the very first Governor's Merit Scholarship to graduating seniors who are in the top 5% of their class who attend an Ohio college or university. These are $5,000 a year scholarships. They're renewable each year for up to 4 years. Funding for the Merit Scholarship means it remains a top priority. Last year, to give you some numbers, a whopping 76% of students eligible, those in the top 5% of their high school class, eligible for the scholarship, accepted it and are today attending Ohio colleges and universities. Of the students eligible for the scholarship in this year's senior class, an astounding 87% of them have accepted it and are remaining in Ohio to go to college. Prior to the creation of this scholarship, only about 60% of the top 5% of Ohio students stayed in Ohio for college. Now, because of this scholarship, this year, an additional 1,700 of our top students are remaining in Ohio, 1,700 more than we would have expected. And they will not go to college outside Ohio. That's on top of the 1,000 additional students from last year. Last year, Ellie Baker was among the first Ohio seniors to receive the Merit Scholarship. She graduated as valedictorian from Claymont High School in Tuscarawas County and is currently pursuing her education at Kent State University. Here's what Ellie had to say about the Merit Scholarship, and I quote, "I come from Appalachia, a historically low-income area where paying for college isn't the easiest thing. However, I didn't want that to hold me back from achieving my aspirations." Then there's Ella Szymanski, currently a high school senior at Nordonia High School in Macedonia. Ella recently received our Merit Scholarship for this upcoming academic year and plans to accept it so she can stay in Ohio to study computer science and Spanish. Both Ellie and Ella are with us today. Let's give them a round of applause. We're very proud of both of you. You know, we have so many colleges and universities in Ohio, but one of the biggest complaints that Fran and I have heard over many years from Ohioans, including legislators, is that it's too hard for Ohio students to get into some Ohio campuses. We're going to change that in our budget by guaranteeing admission to the main campus of every state college or university for all Ohio high school students who are in the top 5% of their class. They will be guaranteed admission into those schools. I'm happy to say that Ohio's independent colleges have told us that they have an interest in matching this pledge as well. We also must remain focused on making the college more affordable for Ohio students. That's why our budget includes continued support for the Ohio College Opportunity Grant, or OCOG. It provides financial assistance to students who have the highest levels of financial need. Today, nearly 59,000 students from across Ohio are currently receiving help through OCOG. Helen Huffman, a senior at Cedarville University, is a recipient of this grant. She was considering taking a year off from school to work and save enough money to pay for her senior year. However, because of this grant, she's been able to continue with her classes, and she's expected to graduate in May. She plans to work in Springfield to provide translation services to assist the Haitian Creole immigrant population. Helen, would you please stand? We're proud of you as well. Very much. Work-based learning opportunities can be a core component of a student's academic success. As part of our budget, we're requiring each state institution of higher education, each state school, to implement a meaningful work-based learning program. Ohio has many leaders in work-based learning, including the University of Cincinnati co-op model, which was created over 100 years ago, as well as Miami's Work Plus program on its regional campuses that allows students to earn an essentially debt-free degree with tuition and wages paid for by an employer. I recently sat down with University of Cincinnati students and their leadership to discuss how this type of learning has enhanced their overall academic experience. One student, Zach Sullivan, who graduated from Indian Hill High School, recently completed a vigorous co-op in sales with Western and Southern in Cincinnati. Now Zach, who is expected to graduate in the spring, has already accepted a full-time job in the service and sales department at Western and Southern. Zach, congratulations on your job offer. Please stand so we can give you some applause as well. We need more business experts like Zach, and also more engineers, chemists, data analysts, cybersecurity analysts, software developers, social workers, behavioral therapists, and so many, many more. Our state workforce needs are clear. So now it's time to match those needs with students graduating with the appropriate education and training. Today, we determine the amount of state funding that colleges, our state universities, receive by the number of students completing courses, certificates, and degrees. Our budget takes this to the next logical level by partially funding our state colleges and universities based on actual student outcomes, including how many students get a job after graduation. This will make Ohio the first state in the nation to tie a significant portion of funding for colleges and universities to graduates who are getting jobs. This past year, we lost 3 legendary former Ohio legislative leaders and champions of education and workforce development. House Speaker Joanne Davison, Majority Floor Leader Kirk Schuring, and Senate Minority Leader Ben Espy. They shared a deep love for this state and for our people, and a great optimism about our future. We think about them when we come into this chamber today. You know, working together over the last 6 years, we've had a lot of incredible wins for Ohio. We have every reason also to be optimistic about our future. Yes, our great state is still work in progress, as it is with everything in life. But we can always progress further especially when it comes to filling the jobs and fully realizing the opportunities that we have created. But we're going to get there. We have the playbook. We have the team. And now together, let's go win. And as we do, let's also remember the words of then Coach Tressel, who reminds us that, and I quote, "Our success is measured not just by wins, but by the legacy we leave behind." And he's so right. That legacy is the future of our great state. And what is it? It's our children. It's our grandchildren. It's our great-grandchildren. It's also what we prioritize, the investments we make, and our commitment to each of the young people who are here with us today. We owe it to them to open all of the awesome possibilities and life-changing opportunities that Ohio has to offer. For they truly are our future. They are our hope for tomorrow, and they will become Ohio's legacy. I thank you all very much. May God bless this great state and the people of Ohio. Thank you.
Dan DeRosa with 19 News as Governor DeWine wraps up his State of the State address. I have covered all 6 of these. This was perhaps maybe the least exciting, I guess I'll use that phrase. Not a lot announced as far as initiatives that will impact a great number of people. The governor talked a lot about needing workforce help. The state has made some great gains lately with getting major companies like Intel to move to the state of Ohio. So he's going to put new Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel, in charge of what he's calling a workforce playbook, looking at every region of the state and making sure we are churning out workers for each region, for that dedicated region. He did mention briefly his desire to start paying with stadium money, not out of the general fund, but by increasing taxes on online gaming and sports gambling companies that are operating in the state of Ohio. He did not mention the Browns by name, but that is definitely at the forefront of that push for an increase on that tax. He did mention the child tax credit, $1,000 per child under the age of 7 years old. That is proposed to be paid for by an increase on cigarettes and a tax on that. He didn't mention the word cigarettes at all. He did not mention the word tax on cigarettes at all, but he did bring up the potential for a tax credit for families that are paying for the high cost of child care, whether that's daycare or health care for children. We'll have a wrap up on this and all of the day's news when we start 3.5 hours of news and first alert weather coming up at 3 o'clock on Channel 19. Until then, I'm Dan DeRosa with 19 News. Have a good afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media